الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمد عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء اتقوا الله الذي تسألون به والأرحم إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله والخير هدي محمد وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار ونعوذ بالله من ذلك. We seek refuge in Almighty Allah from undoing ourselves with doubt, with uncertainty, with deviating from the path that He has laid out for us and by rejecting Him in any way. We ask Allah to be our guide, otherwise we are doomed. And I'm asking Allah to save us from our own undoing. We're living in a very complex world that is filled with things that would bring doubt to the heart and the mind of we human beings. And the thing that is going to be the cure for the disquieting doubt that the confusion of the world brings to us is for us to have certainty. And this is what we're going to talk about today, with the hope that each and every one of us, and then maybe our viewing audience, sometime in the future, when they get a chance to view this, they might listen carefully. Whether you're a Christian or Jew or you are an atheist, whether you are agnostic, whatever you're bent, a Hindu, whatever it is, we have to deal with certainty of life. We have to be very certain about the things we're doing. Otherwise, we're doing guesswork. It's called dhanna. We're dealing with guesswork in life, and we can't be living life with guesswork or walking around in these shells that we call just bodies, only to find ourselves at the end of the road, to be freed from these bodies, to either find comfort in the grave or to find the beginning of our suffering. We want to avoid the latter. We want to avoid this suffering and be able to acquire the benefit of having certainty in life. Certainty is the key to our paradise. Allah Ta'ala, God, glorious and exalted above all things, He says in His book, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألهاكم التكاثر حتى زرتم المقابر كلا سوف تعلمون ثم كلا سوف تعلمون كلا لو تعلمون علم اليقين لترون الجحيم ثم لترونها عين اليقين ثم لتسألون يومئذ عن النعيم. So we read the English. This is the Arabic of the 102nd surah of the Quran. Competition in worldly increase divert you from the remembrance of Allah, and divert until you reach your graves. No, you are going to know. No, you're going to know this. Know, if you only knew with knowledge of certainty, you will surely see the hellfire. I would think that anybody, and it goes on to say, then you will surely see it with the eye of certainty. This is called Ain al-Yaqeen, which is one of the things we're going to be talking about. Then you will surely be asked that day about the things that you enjoyed, your pleasures. This life, we know all of us, is very temporary. Sometimes we think that we have time, but we're really running out of time. Every moment that we are given to exist in this part of our existence, we're running out of time. You know, they used to say, like sands through the hourglass, so go the days of our lives. So go the moments of our lives. They're just tick, 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 going away. And soon you'll have to face a reality that is going to be eternal. So, and I told you a couple of weeks ago about the man with the on one of these programs, I think it might be a TED Talk it's called. And they had a little piece of red on the tip of a white rope that went to the extent of going off the stage. And he said, imagine that this white rope is going all the way around the world. All the way around the world and coming back here. He said, this little 2 inches on this thick white cord represents the life that we live. And the life to come is the extent of that rope wrapping around the whole world. 24,000 miles of rope and 2 inches representing this life. Just to give us some kind of symbolism of the brevity, the shortness of the life that we're living, and the extent of the life that is yet to come. So if we don't have yaqeen, which means certainty about what we are doing with the life that we've been given, then we are wasting our time and headed for a rude awakening. My mother used to say, a rude awakening. So, alhaakumu takathur hatta zutumul maqabir, until you come to the graves. Until you come to the graves. We cannot afford to wait to that time. We have to be sure about what we are doing. Again, we have Allah Ta'ala, He says in the Quran, وَعَبُدُوا رَبَّكَ حَتَّى يَتِيَكَ الْيَقِينَ, and worship your Lord until there comes to you the certainty. And worship your Lord. What are we supposed to be doing with this life? This is our instructions for the today. Okay? This is the 15th surah. The 99th ayat. I want you to go ahead and just read it in English. And worship your Lord until there comes to you the certainty. The certainty is when Allah Ta'ala lets you taste of death and the reality of your waking up in your grave. Because you know, when you die, and we just buried someone, one of our beloved sheikhs, just this Saturday past. And when you, all of a sudden now, you leave this life and you are faced with the saqat al-maut, the stupor of death. You're trying to figure out at this time of your tasting of the death, where am I? But then you have no eyes to see, no ears to hear, no sensibilities, no mind. It's rotting in the grave. But the soul now is then getting ready to be questioned about an existence that you're presently faced with, that you have no tools to reckon with except the soul that you brought to that grave. And that soul has it in its record, your belief, and what you did with the time that you were on earth. That's all you have there. Your good deeds and your bad deeds. Oh Allah, let us be amongst the people at that time who have the answer for 3 major, most important questions of all of the life that you live now. There's going to be asked of you, who is your Lord? These 3 things. Non-Muslims, you Muslims, sisters downstairs. All of us need to have these 3 questions in mind, and we need to live with them as though they are the essential reality of why we live and exist. Who is your Lord? What was your way of life? And what do you say of this man? This man being the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. What did you do with your life? How did you live it? I was submissive to the will of God. I was a Muslim, which was what Muslim means. One who is submitted to find the peace that can only come from Allah. And most importantly now, who is your Lord? Allah Rabbi. Say it to yourselves, Allah Rabbi. Allah is my Lord, and keep on saying it. And then act as though Allah is your Lord. Too often we are claiming, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammad abduhu rasuluh. Of course the makhraj of many of you are better than mine, but that's not important. The makhraj is important in reciting the Quran. But your heart, if you never knew a word of Arabic, is what is important at this time. What does the heart say? Because your tongue is saying a lot about whatever you know. You're sticking your finger out so many times in a day. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. You're claiming that you believe in Allah Ta'ala with this finger extended when you make the tashahud, bearing witness to the oneness of Almighty Allah, bearing witness to the Prophet Muhammad and in essence, bearing witness to this religion of Islam. And now, with this all in mind, what are we trying to get out of the life that we live? What are we trying to bring with us? We're trying to live it with certainty, and we're trying to die with certainty. We're trying to live life with yaqeen. The word is yaqeen. This is the Arabic word for this certainty that we're talking about. And know that knowledge is not enough. Even practicing the ibadah that Islam gives us is not enough. You have to do everything that you do with what? Yaqeen. Say it to yourself, say yaqeen. And we're asking Allah to give us yaqeen. Oh Allah, وَعَبُدُوا رَبَّكَ حَتَّى يَأْتِيَكَ الْيَقِينَ, and worship your Lord until there comes to you the certainty. And the certainty is what? كُلِّ نَفْسٍ ذَائِقَةُ الْمَوْتِ, and every soul will taste of death. ثُمَّ إِلَيْهِ تُرْجَعُونَ, and then to Allah is the return. So now, what should we be doing with the little time that we have left? I don't know what you're going to be doing with yours, but let me look at what I might be doing with mine, see if I have enough. Because, you know, most of this khutbah is not for you. Most of this sermon, America, is not for the people who are listening to it. It's for the guy who's saying it. Because it would be a shame that I preach to you about certainty and meet my demise, and then I'm in doubt. I'm confused, and I don't know what to answer. When the time comes, I'm lying in my grave, and every one of us in the room, all who get to view this, the sisters downstairs and the brothers before me, or in the other room, or anyone, كُلِّ نَفْسٍ ذَائِقَةُ الْمَوْتِ ثُمَّ إِلَيْهِ تُرْجَعُونَ. I had written a few things, you know, regarding this matter. And why I'm talking about certainty, because we're living in a world of doubt, and you might want to title this khutbah, Being Certain in Uncertain Times. Being certain in uncertain times. There is little doubt in the minds of most of us that we are living through turbulent times. It seems as though not a day passes us by that we don't hear of some saddening human tragedy. Environmental disasters, political instability, social unrest, financial insecurity, civil discord, and what more? War, war, war. One week we hear of people in Las Vegas, a man from the 32nd floor. They didn't tell us what religion he was, but we know he had the religion of democracy. He had a choice. He did his own thing, killing 60 people and wounding and injuring severely another more than 500. This is nearly 600 people's lives who have been disrupted by gun violence. And they're trying to figure now that the answer to this here is gun control. Lessening so they don't have the thing on it that can cause multiple firing into crowds of people. That's not the issue, because you can leave a gun on the table or in a room, all the ammunition in the world for 1,000, for 1 billion years, and nobody would get shot. The issue is not a matter of gun control. It's about cultivating in the hearts of humankind love, mercy, and most of all, faith with certainty in God. Because if they knew, then in Mogadishu we have somebody, what they say was the Shabab. In a Muslim state, in the capital of a Muslim state, killing more than 300 people, men, women, and children in a square. Of course, they want to blame the Muslims. This issue that we are faced with now in the world today is not a matter of an issue of what Moses has given us, or what Abraham has given us, or what Jesus has given us, peace be upon them, or what our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has given us, peace be upon them all. It is a matter of the sickening and the disease of the heart because of lack of certainty here and here. Your heart has to be certain. You can't have doubt or disquieting. You have dhann. You can't have guesswork about the realities of the existence. The issue is a matter of not us not believing in the unseen. And when the unseen is not real, then you feel that you're free to do whatever you want, not knowing that you have an unseen soul that is attached to the unseen creator of the heavens and the earth. So in these political, turbulently struck times, these evil times, we are occasionally relieved of, we either trying to be entertained, we watch movies. Sometimes we're even engaged in the dhikr of Allah, which takes us away from some of this material, this what we call dunya. And then when we are free for that moment, not faced with what the world gives us, then we have our own problems to deal with, our own personal problems. This negative reflection of the life that we're living is so saddening sometimes it makes us feel hopeless and helpless. But in reality, Allah Ta'ala has power over all things. This is where our certainty lies. وَهُوَ إِلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ. So that then we have hope. The nature of our minds and our hearts, when they are settled and we can have some sakina, tranquility of heart, it happens when we have hope. But if you don't have certainty, you can't have hope. The amal. If you have hope, then you have certainty. And then again, after that moment of certainty, we start to hear the news reports over and over and over again of some other tragedy. So how are we to cope? Because I want us to be, listen, you're not going to get your yaqeen improved today. The work of yaqeen is every day, every moment of your life. Reaffirming the reality of the existence of Allah and believing in the unseen God and your unseen soul. Otherwise, you're walking around you think of yourself as an empty bottle. And the minute Allah Ta'ala squeezes out the juices of this existence, the water, and puts several pounds of dirt together, and takes that all away from you, then you are nothing. A lot of people feel that they are. But these are people who they can't see very far. They are short-sighted, narrow-minded, and have no depth, no hikmah, no wisdom. It is only with belief in Allah and obedience to His commands that we will be able to find certainty. How do we find certainty? Belief in the unseen and obeying certain commands, and we will never know this feeling of certainty until we are engaged in the ibadah. So worship your Lord, as it was said before, until the yaqeen comes to you. If we permit what is before us, our eyes today, to go on in the way feeling about this world, every time we hear about it, it cringes. I don't care who's doing the killing, I know it's not a Muslim. I don't care who's doing them, I know that it's a sick person. This person has a disease of the heart. Fi qulubihim marad. Fi qulubihim marad. Because no Muslim, no Christian, no Jew that has any sense of reality or yaqeen would ever do the evil that is going on in the world today. So no, when they ask you, I know it wasn't a Muslim. I don't have to say, oh, I hope it's not a Muslim. They have a Muslim name. But I can go downstairs and take my Nissan downstairs and I can put a Rolls Royce symbol on the top of it. It's not a Rolls Royce. It's what it is. So do not blame the Muslims, or don't blame any people who say that they believe, whether they're Buddhists or Jews. They're not believers in anything. They're living in disquieting sickness and doubt. And the rules of this crazy world that we've been given permission to do whatever we choose is the issue. Guns don't kill. A friend of mine quite often says the man who hits his finger while he's doing things with the hammer and then swears at the hammer is a fool. You're the one who used the hammer. You don't say the damn hammer. The one who was using the hammer is the issue. The one who's using the gun is the problem. They have no certainty. And for us who are gathered here today in this room and downstairs, and for those who in the future will get a chance to, inshallah, to listen to this sermon, I want you to want you to acquire yaqeen. You can't do it without belief, number one. And you can't have that belief that is not shaped and conformed by knowledge, true knowledge of who God is and what he wants of you. First thing, faith. You have no faith, you will have no certainty. You have no knowledge. If you have no knowledge, you can't be certain. So you have to have these things. Even when they do the sab'a shurut, the 7 conditions of your statement of I believe in Allah as the only God, and Muhammad Rasulullah is the first have what? Put away the phone. The first thing is what? Ilm. Now we're coming to the issues regarding knowledge. The second thing is to go to yaqeen. But I say that between ilm and yaqeen, there's another thing, it's called ma'rifah. Ma'rifah means to be acquainted with something by way of experience. It's like called experiential knowledge. And we'll get to that right now. See if we can get some of this in. Because I want us to strengthen our hearts with yaqeen. That's what I'd like to really see. I want all of us to be able to walk away say, maybe the Imam has something. And I'm going to set out on the path of trying to acquire this certainty. Because I cannot live without certainty. So now there are 3 levels of certainty. The first of it being ilm yaqeen. Knowledge of a thing. You can see me working with something. You can see the results. But that's, and somebody can talk to you about it. If they're talking to you about it and you acquire knowledge through your intellect, it's a level of knowledge, yes. And then when you see it transpiring, when you see it happening, this is another. So the first one is ilm yaqeen, the knowledge through way of acquiring information about a thing. You don't know much about it because you've never seen it. But now you see it with your eyes. This is what Allah's talking about. And then the third is, which is the most important, is ilm al-haq. The haq al-yaqeen, is the most important. But some people in life, you have to get burnt in order to understand. Others are able to use the knowledge and the eye to prevent them to having to feel the pain of the reality. This is where we should be. We should be using these first 2 so we don't have to face the reality. Because when you start to face that hellfire, when you go to that grave, you people who don't acknowledge the oneness of Allah Ta'ala, when you come to the graveyard and you're placed down in there alone and you have no one else around you and everybody walks away and leaves you in the grave, to answer these 3 questions is going to be the beginning of your torment if you don't have them clearly in your heart and in your mind. I ask Allah to preserve us from that. The 3 levels of yaqeen: ilm yaqeen, ain al-yaqeen, and haq al-yaqeen, truthful. Then it is the reality that you have to face. Let us with our minds and our hearts at this moment of life avoid having to come to that moment that we have to face the punishment of Allah Ta'ala. Let us look forward in certainty that Allah is true and His promise is true and His Prophet Muhammad is true, this religion of Islam is true, and let us avoid having to face a reality that no one in their right heart and mind will ever want to face. I seek refuge in Allah from myself. I seek refuge in Allah from the whisper of Satan, and I seek refuge in Allah from doubt. I ask Allah to give us certainty of the things of this life and the life to come. Oh Allah, have mercy on us and guide us to the straight path and make us amongst the people of certainty. Ameen.
الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعه بلسان إلى يوم الدين.
I seek refuge in Almighty Allah. Oh Allah, help us with our affairs. And I say praise be to Allah, and peace and mercy and blessings upon the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, upon his family, upon his respected and honored companions who supported him when there was no great book, because there was no great book to follow for the first 13 years. This woman, let us use Bilal. When he had those rocks on his chest, he didn't have the Quran. He wasn't Hafiz the Quran. Bilal was not Hafiz the Quran when he had the rocks on his chest. So where does this yaqeen start from? It starts from the heart. Yes, I made mention of 3 levels of yaqeen, but the best of the yaqeen is the yaqeen that's in the qalb. Because and then you have to protect it. If it ever feel it, ever one day feel the yaqeen that's in the heart, then protect it with ibadah. And keep on trying to remember Allah so that it's clear in your mind, and stand with it, because you can stand against the whole world when you're certain. And you can face death when you're certain. And you can be victorious when you're certain. It is only when you find out, because even if you die, you died upon true iman, based on certainty of the heart. Then when you live long enough, you start to acquire knowledge. You use that to protect that heart. You use the ilm al-ayn, you use that to protect it, because you've seen it. You've seen other people have trouble. You read the book of Allah and you listen to history, you see the effects of doubt in the lives of people around you. So when ilm al-haq, you don't have to face that. You don't have to come to the pain. You'd have to face the reality of death. Yes, but you don't have to receive the pain that goes along with it, the suffering because of doubt. So that the heart is where the key to everything. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Hahunna," in tapping his breast, this is where it is. And our eyes, our brains are there to help us to reason about the reality that goes long beyond these carcasses that we live in, that we walk around in. Oh, America, oh, world, if you get a chance to listen to this, you're not listening to the most knowledgeable of people, but I think this is very basic. And anybody who is hasn't taken the time to reason beyond the mere physical existence of themselves is just like a dog or a cow or a maggot. We have been given higher levels of reasoning beyond the common creature. We have intelligence, we have souls, and then we have the reason of a deeper sense of existence, because the heart is telling us that there is a God. And only the people who are kafirs, who are covering up that truth so that they can arrogantly walk around the world and talk as though they understand, and yet when they're dead, they will have to face the reality, the haqq al-yaqeen. I ask Allah to preserve us from that. Oh Lord, God, there is no other God but you, the ever living and self-subsisting God. Al-Hayyul Qayyum. We hope one day to face you. We hope one day that you will find your good pleasure with us, that you will see us as your righteous servants. That the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ will be able to look into our hearts, not into our eyes or minds, but into our hearts, and say, Adkhulu fi jannati, come into my garden. I look forward to this day, and I pray that Allah preserves me and guides myself and all of you, all of us. Ya Rab, idina sirat al-mustaqim, idina sirat al-yaqeen. Guide us to the path of certainty. There is no God but you. There's no one else to ask. I ask Allah to have mercy on us. We pray for our Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, for the many lives that were lost in Mogadishu, as I prayed for the people who were in Las Vegas. Even more so now, I pray for the Muslim families. A man came from England to see his daughter graduate from high school in Mogadishu. He came to bury her because of the people of doubt and ignorance and hate and evil. I ask you and I seek refuge from mankind. I pray for the people in Palestine. I pray for the Rohingya Muslims. I pray for the people of Syria. I pray for all of mankind, Allah. You alone can distinguish between the believer and the disbeliever, but all that who would believe, let us be instruments of your faith. Let us be ambassadors for this faith. Let us have certainty in all that we say and do. And let people, humankind, be able to look upon us as the people of Yaqeen. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك وتبارك اسمك وتعالى جدك ولا إله غيرك ونستغفرك ونتوب إليه. اللهم ربنا ثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين وأتينا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وآقنا عذاب النار. أقيموا الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة.